Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, driven by your Southern California Honda dealers. I'm Allie Clifton, joined by the Hall of Famer, big game James Worthy, five-time champ Derek Fisher, Lakers insider Mike Bresnahan. Mike Trudell is in Miami. We'll handle locker room interviews. Guys, Lakers made it interesting, to say the least. Better urgency, effort there down the stretch after trailing by as many as 26. Cut it to within 4, two-possession game. But I think the bottom line here is, and I have numbers that I'm not going to bore you with, but against a team who is fighting for a top spot, as Miami is in the Eastern Conference, 15-5 at home, well-constructed and oiled as they are, you cannot dig yourself a hole as deep as the Lakers did to start the game and expect to have a chance, though they had one, which was interesting down the stretch, the way they did today. Fish, you just have to start better from the jump, and the Lakers did not do that today. Yeah,
I mean, against any team, like you said, to start out in the hole the way they did on the road, against a good, sound team, and in particular, the way Miami shot the ball in the first half. Like, it's just tough to rob them of enough confidence in order to come all the way back in this one. 11 threes in the first half made by Miami, only 4 in the second half. So, you could tell that I think everybody kind of thought the game was over. Miami took their foot off the gas, and the Lakers decided the game wasn't over. So they do deserve credit there, but it's tough to play from behind the entire night. And that goes for anybody, but especially not a team as good as Miami Heat.
The irony there is the 11 threes was the most by opponent given up by the Lakers this season. And when it came down to winning the game, you have that Duncan Robinson three at the top of the key. He got hot. And then you might as well just put P.J. Tucker's name on a corner three ball because that's his shot as well.
Yeah, I think he can hit that shot, blindfolded over there in that corner. And, without Tyler Hero and Lowry, Miami still finds ways to plug in players and play their system, play their game. I thought the Lakers, got too far behind, like Fish said, and you had to expend a lot of energy, just to get it from 20 to 10, and then then momentum usually switches. But I like the fight in the fourth quarter. They didn't give up. They, maybe they can, get inspired by the comeback a little bit on this trip. Hopefully so.
I feel like the Lakers kind of, and I hate cross-sports references, but they were kind of like Tampa Bay today. Down early, made a big little push, and then you see the numbers here. Pretty good fourth quarter. You cannot complain about that. What you can complain about, if you're looking at the Lakers critically, that first half. They allowed 69 points. Yet again, way too generous, way too compliant in the first half. What they allowed the other night, 70, or maybe that was against Indiana. It kind of starts to blur together. And they gave up 11 threes as well in that first half. So just too big of a hole. Nice comeback. I liked LeBron's game, obviously. What's not to like about him pretty much the whole season. I also liked Russ. Again, very careful with the ball, only 3 turnovers, very efficient on offense. But that's about all you can say. Maybe the other piece of good news is AD went through a pregame shoot-around, but another Laker loss. They're back under 500.
When it comes to AD, obviously, we're going to talk more about him in depth coming up later in the show. But I think as it pertains to this, the Lakers only outscored by 4 inside in the paint, 44-40. But I think, Fish, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. What does the challenge look like? You do have a veteran ball club, which we've talked all season long, lends to experience. But when you watch games like this, again, against teams that you're looking up at when it comes to the standings, you look a step behind defensively, which lends to obviously missed coverages. The shots were short. There were some air balls that were very uncharacteristic from a couple of guys this season. You got 35 games to go. AD is on the horizon in return, but there's still some things that need to be fixed, and he's not going to be able to fix it all.
So here we are talking about AD is on the way again, huh?
AD is on the way.
AD is on the way. Yeah, no, that will help for sure, having Anthony Davis behind the perimeter defense of the Lakers that's, been a little more porous than it has been over the last couple years. I think it's during the regular season, and I believe that's why some people feel that the Lakers are still going to be difficult to eliminate in the postseason because the team is more built for tough postseason matchups. The regular season, for an older veteran team, the way Miami moves the ball, the way good teams in the NBA share the basketball now, the amount of closeouts and one-on-one defense and the amount of times you have to switch and talk and point, like it requires so much energy just to get one stop. It is difficult for this Lakers team to do that night in and night out. It really is. They can do it in spurts and in stretches, but over the course of 48 minutes, there's just not enough of those minutes to be able to slow teams down offensively. So hopefully getting AD back soon, that gives better rim protection. And then they can start to do a better job of protecting the paint, protecting the rim, keeping teams off the free throw line. And one thing they haven't done as much this year is create and force turnovers, which gets LeBron out and Russ out in transition. That would be an area they need to try and improve on as well.
This is certainly one of those games that you can look at moving forward when it comes to the big picture, because as we know, Miami top 7 both offensively and defensively, and they did. They put a clinic on with moving the basketball big game no matter what lineup was out there for the Lakers.
Yeah, just go to show you they've been together, and even the guys they've added, they've adapted to the system. They're winners. Butler's a great leader, and, the way they play and the shooters that they have on the perimeter, if they collapse in defenses, they're getting a lot of big three-point shots. And then when you add guys like Bam, who's very active, we didn't have a big really to compete with him. Dwight started a little bit, and then they come in with Dedmon, who's also very active. Those are the problems we have. I think when AD comes back, in addition to having Dwight Howard as a backup, you may see a little bit more consistent, defense, at least in the paint.
It is a true testament to what system that they do have out there, because we've talked about the plug and play that Spo has been forced to use. I mean, Kyle Lowry is 5th in the NBA, guys, and 8 assists a game. Tyler Hero is front runner for most improved at 21 points a game. They're not out there, and they still play the same way.
Yeah, it's kind of like Miami's kind of like the Lakers of the East. Obviously, there's a big difference we'll get to in a second. They've had a ton of injuries. Bam missed about 2/3 of the season with a torn thumb ligament. Jimmy Butler really in and out of the lineup. He's missed about 1/3 of the season. As you mentioned, 2 of their starters, or maybe one of their starters, and maybe the 6th man of the year, and Tyler Hero, both out tonight. Difference, Miami has guys who've been able to fill the cracks. They're in first place now in the East. I believe they moved into a tie with the win today. So you got the undrafted guys, guys like Gabe Vincent and Max Strus. Caleb Martin was out there late in the game, too, for Miami. They've had these guys who've been able to help weather the storm, and most importantly, Jimmy Butler, who, James, he was playing point guard today. I mean, it was really amazing to watch. He's basically the 3rd-string point guard on this team. Did a great job, especially in that first half.
Good catch there. 6th man, not most improved. But with Jimmy Butler, 10 assists in the first half.
Yeah.
4 points. Still very impactful. Lakers fall to a game below 500, 23-24, with 35 games to go. Before we go to the highlight, let's check out a tweet from the best, Flea. This Laker team is incapable of maintaining mental focus, athletic energy, or spiritual groundedness over the length of a 48-minute game, and it's breaking my little Laker heart.
Flea, always putting it out there. I thought they were good the last 24. Just the first 24. Not so good. So I would amend that tweet a little bit, Flea, if you want. But I get the point, Fish. I get the point.
Yeah, no, it's over the length of a 48-minute game.
Yeah.
You're right. I think he's just saying from start to finish.
Start to finish, sure.
They sometimes struggle in those areas, but oof.
As a fan, it's not something that they have been able to see consistently enough this season. So you get it.
Yeah, and it's, it's so tough because we have no idea what it's like to be Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers and how hard that job is. Nobody in the world understands how hard the job is that those guys are being asked to do on the court. So it comes with the territory, though.
And, Laker fans, they've been used to, certain production. They're used to winning championships. So this has been a very harsh year. I remember Kobe's last year was kind of harsh as well. They're just not used to, not winning. I think they can accept, trades and things of that nature, but not winning and the way we've been losing, I don't think they're used to that. So
I feel like people are tweeting after every game. Magic a few games ago, and now Flea. If they lose again to Brooklyn in a couple days, who's going to be the next one to tweet? Obviously, some frustration among Laker fans and faithful with this team. When will the bottom be found? That's the key.
Yeah.
We just don't know. And how many times, Allie, on these shows have we said, have they turned the corner? Have they turned the corner?
As someone who has stepped into Laker faithful, they don't just tweet after the game. They tweet before, they tweet during, and even on non-game days. They are faithful. Let's get you out to South Beach. In case you missed it, check out the highlight of this one. Anthony Davis is getting closer to return, but as he was still out, obviously, in this one against the Heat. Early first, Avery Bradley with it hits the floater. Lakers